One simply must admit that those tiled benches are very nice. So are the trees, the sky. Very, very nice. Okay, so I'm mic'd up. Um, yeah, so it was a crazy RSS morning at 4 a madrugada, 4 in the morning. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, of course, with the weather and the climate all over the planet because, the planet climate system is a huge complex system that includes the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the clouds, the oceans, the forests, the carbon emissions, and everything else. And on top of that, we've got all this war stuff going on. We're getting out of Afghanistan. The United States of New Miracles is out. But they've got bases surrounding Afghanistan. And they're going to be all in on blowing up ISIS terrorists. And they'll probably work with the Taliban to do that. And so the action will be never ceasing. They're going to be blowing up stuff until the rapture, basically. So the Delta Force and the Navy SEALs and the Special Ops Marines and this Army Ranger Special Ops fellas and all the contractors, Price's dudes, Eric what? Yeah, he's going to be out there like crazy. He wants to charge people $6,500 to fly out of Afghanistan on private chartered jets. So that man, he makes money on war, mayhem, violence. He monetizes it greedily, quite good at it. There's going to be a lot of characters like that around the world in the future. Imagine all the billionaires and their private mercenary armies. I wonder what they're going to pay them with. Bitcoin, special digital currencies, food. You can live in the castle if, you can live in the floating city and we'll protect ourselves from the marauding gangs of migrants, the migrating hordes. I guess the migrating hordes are going to be the zombies. Or maybe the singularity folks will figure things out and then they'll have their little robotic bodies and their computer brains and they'll treat us like zombies or really stupid pets if we're lucky. Yeah, so nobody's going to pay attention to this climate thing until it really gets deadly. And then anyone who's dug in on the climate change is a hoax or a Chinese conspiracy because of cognitive dissonance and stubborn ignorance, stubborn willful ignorance. They're going to continue to say that climate change isn't real or it's God's will or whatnot. And I just don't see how it's going to be very pleasant, even if we unleash all kinds of really great technology, carbon capture, and we electrify everything, and we start to think about life cycle assessment and resource-based economies and so on and so forth. Because the players, they still want to loot. And Don Sam still wants to support the players. Don Sam's bankers still want to support the players in the great game that never ended. If you've read any of those books about the great game, the British at the top of the world, Afghan history is amazing. Afghan history. Yeah. Dan Carlin should do something about Afghanistan. Has he done something about Afghanistan? That would be interesting. Tweet Dan Carlin and ask him to do something about Afghanistan. He'll listen to you. Yeah, and the COVID thing, bodies are piling up in Florida, but nobody's going to believe that it's a thing, you know? Because the faithful, the true believers, the evangelical Christians of the United States of New Miracles, they don't think it's a big deal. And you know, God works in mysterious ways, and when it's your time to die because you got COVID and it triggered some stuff in your body that wasn't so nice, maybe you have some pre-existing conditions that aren't covered by your insurance company. And, you know, it's just God's will, you know? So they're not going to get vaccinated. And then you're going to have these intellectual superstars, YouTubers with their followings, who are going to believe it's all a conspiracy or it's just for making money. Vaccines is just a money scam. And that actually there's a really cheap drug, over-the-counter drug that you can buy at Walgreens, that if you take it prophylactically, you'll be fine. But they're hiding it from you because they want everyone to die. Depopulate, defrag, reset. My friend here, he owns a cafe, Portuguese fellow, and he said there's a fire hose of information and people just can't digest it. There's too much information. And I said, yeah, that's true. It's too much. And you could curate the heck out of it and it'd still be too much. In the old days, I didn't know what was going on in the world. You read a newspaper to get the news, then you went to the cafe and you talked to your friends who've read a book, and then they told you something you didn't know. And if you wanted to know what it's like in Peru, you just went to Peru. You know, it's just so different. And now everybody's got their little silos that they can hang out in and get all the information that they want and they're comfortable with trigger warnings and safe spaces. They can be with people that they identify with. They can be their true selves. So it's all fragmented. People talk about toxic masculinity and knives. Why do men like knives? Well, that was probably one of our first tools. We started flaking those points, using them to cut fish or something. Spearheads to hunt with. And now people sit in air-conditioned rooms and fly drones and blow up wedding parties with missiles, thinking perhaps at the time that that would change things for the better somehow. I don't see how that works, but obviously there's some rationale behind it. People are thinking things through. They got their reasons. Like Sam often says, we do it for the right reasons. And Steve can talk about Western civilization and all that, Enlightenment values and whatnot. We don't have to update those things in the light of technology and computers and weapons of mass destruction and billionaire space races. Just, you know, keep it all in the 18th century and pretend it's all gospel while we're spewing carbon into the atmosphere since we started digging up coal. Human beings have always been a major contributor to deforestation and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like on an industrial scale since the Industrial Revolution. So Yeah, it would be nice if ephemeralization took care of things and the robots did all the work and we electrified, and instead of roads in cities, you just had pathways and places for the animals to walk around and eat and live. This guy writes about human scale on Substack, and it's really interesting. He's an urban designer, urban planner, architect. And I was thinking, that's the ideas he has where you scale up a city, a community to a certain level, and then you just go far away somewhere and repeat it. And then you have little villages in between those bigger towns and cities. That's what Portugal is. I mean, there's all these little villages that have their church and their shop and their bakery and their farms and stuff, and then you go to a little town like this, Alcobaça or Calda or wherever, and then you can go to Coimbra or Porto or Lisboa if you got to do the big city thing. But all of it could be sustainable, all of it could be better. We could improve things. We have been for hundreds of years. We could continue to do that. But we have to tackle some big problems first. And the only way we're going to do that is if billions of people become wise and recalibrate their value systems so they start to value different things besides just attention and money and stuff. A whole bunch of wannabe Stoic sages and wannabe Christ-like folks and wannabe Buddhas running around the planet doing really good stuff, you know, ethical businesses. You only need so much, right, to be happy? Everybody writes about that for decades, but nobody cares, nobody changes. You don't need that much to be thrilled to be alive. I don't need that much. But I can see how people who have a hell of a lot can rationalize why they have it. They're special individuals. They work hard. They're smart. They create opportunities, employ people. I think that's wonderful. Bully for them. But don't we all do that to some degree? I think we do. So every day you get up, and I used to call it the shit show when Donald Trump was pretending to run, was the figurehead of the United States of New Miracles. But now, it's not a shit show. It's just some kind of crazy deterioration of everything that nobody seems to want to stop. You know what I mean? People don't seem to care that much. I know we all care a little bit because we care about our loved ones and we care about ourselves. But we can't widen that circle of care big enough, wide enough to include the things that need to be included for us to be able to sustain this wonderful, wonderful human adventure. So many cool things going on, you know. So the next 10 years are going to be interesting because it's going to, you know, everything's speeding up, right? Technology, science, and climate change is going to exacerbate all kinds of problems that we have in the world, whether they're socioeconomic, political, problems with the ecosystem, problems with habitats, the sixth extinction, all the things that we ignore, we don't want to know about. I'm a Christian mystic. I don't need to know about any of that stuff. I transcended this world a long time ago. Why should I care? Honestly, it doesn't make me depressed, but I'd hate to be a young person. I just feel so sad about that. I don't feel guilty. We all know that there's nothing we could do. But I think if somehow in our communities, if we did get together and develop face-to-face civil society, social organization to tackle some local problems and just focused on getting things done, and if we educated ourselves a bit so we didn't vote for these charlatans and con men and women and greedy idiots who just feed back to the base all kinds of nonsense. I don't want an educated electorate. Somebody said, is Biden a hero or a zero? And I tweeted back, are the voters heroes or zeros? To a large degree, we're all responsible for allowing these players to play us. And we worship them. Please, just tell me what to think. Tell me about the soft rabbits. Make me believe. Get up on the dance floor, dog, and make me a believer. I don't know. Yeah, this morning, what a morning. And then what does one do? One gets on one's bicycle and rides to a really beautiful place like this and talks about it with a smile on his face. And I'd much rather be with a group of 3 or 4 people having a conversation. The day the internet goes down is not going to be the worst day in our lives. It'll be nice to be able to focus on people within our small little realm of life. There's a beautiful dog here. He's really cute. Nice. Oh. He likes to play ball. He's really, really good looking. We can be so nice to our animals and so mean to ourselves. Isn't that weird? So they don't want the refugees coming to the States, so the United States New Miracles is going to make its coalition partners take in most of the refugees. Okay. No worries. He's cute. Lindo. So, that's going to be interesting. You know, on one news station, cable news station, the guys are all freaked out about the Great Replacement and all that stuff. On the other news station, they think they're balanced. They got this side and that side. There's only 2 sides, of course. And that audience watches and gets all excited because they're well informed. Oh, I'm so glad I'm so well informed. Those pundits and those experts on those shows are really, really smart. Yeah, they're smart, they're educated, they're well paid, and you make it possible for them to be well paid. The best thing we could do to inform ourselves is not watch any of that anymore, ever. I spend 30 seconds on CNN. I just read about the bullshit on Fox News. And then, you know, we can follow some people who are interesting and read some books. I mean, don't give them a penny anymore. We have to boycott this stuff. Yeah, MSM, it has some good information there if you want to know about the weather or what the hurricane's path is, or if you want to update yourself on the victims of the flood or the drought or the war. But after that, you could learn something from other sources, or meditate, or play tennis, or learn how to make pottery, or welding. I think all of us should start going to trade schools now. We can learn how to weld, learn some carpentry, basket weaving. If Gandhi could make his own frocks, we could learn how to make our own frocks. Get a lot of these skills. Tell your kids, hey, you're going to need a lot of different skills. So specialize in the one that really turns you on, that really excites you, but learn a whole bunch of other ones too. And create communities where you got a lot of nice, skilled people around who are these wannabe Stoic sages and these wannabe barefoot, white robe, no killing Jesus types, and wannabe these empty mind, expansive, compassionate Buddhist types, and all the other ones out there. The ones that value wisdom and love and tenderness and kindness, who are considerate, romantic, imaginative, creative, funny. Get those people around you with some skills. You don't need the sharpshooter stuff and the special forces stuff. Respect. If you're with a whole bunch of nice people in a nice community, you're not going to need all that violence. There's not much violence around here. I mean, you never hear about it. People here just kind of like it peaceful. Go figure. And they don't need the church to be peaceful. They don't need Alcoholics Anonymous to be peaceful. They don't need the cult. They don't need to be number one. Well, they're fortunate. Good weather, good fruit, good food, good location. The music's going to stop, and you're going to have to sit down in that chair. So make sure it's a chair that has a nice view, a comfortable chair with lots of nice people next to you. When the shite hits the fan, you're going to want to have some friends. I like this prepping thing. It's kind of fun to watch some Canadian prepper videos. But having all the stuff in the world and learning how to use all the tools in the world doesn't make up for a good community. So wherever you are, build your community. Community building, organizing, it's going to be really important. It is important. It always has been. That means you're going to have to reach out to your neighbor. You can't just go on the internet and find another incel to talk to, or whatever you're into, I've got my device. I have my bubble. I don't need to talk to these people. They might say something that triggers me. They might say something that I'm not comfortable with, quite frankly. And if they do, I'm not going to feel comfortable. And that's what I'm really afraid of. In the olden days, we used to say, the best conversation you had today was the most difficult conversation you had today. Roll up your sleeves and go out there and talk to somebody. Be polite, smile, laugh, be respectful. I'm sorry you don't believe that. I get it. It's okay. We can talk about it if you want. If you don't want, we don't have to talk about it. But this thing over here, this dike that's about to break, we really should do something about that together. okay? You say tomato, I say tomato, but you know, that thing needs to be fixed, like now. So if you're going to prep, get your community building skills in order and start prepping your community to live under radically different conditions that's going to hit us. I'm sorry. I will stop now. Bullion tea out.